Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I am Sammy Hegab, your host, and today I'll be reacting to a video from a very popular channel, Quran and Islam. I really do enjoy their videos regarding various topics, and I would like to do a reaction video because it's a topic that's very relevant to my field and my expertise, which is technology. And this particular video is about artificial intelligence, the threats to human beings, the human race, and so on. I haven't watched the video completely before, but I just watched the first few seconds just to see if it's something that would be interesting to comment on. So I would like to see more of the content before I give my personal opinion whether the information or the fear from AI is fact or fiction. Also, I would like to also reach out to my expert friends. I have friends that I've studied with at university previously, and they specialize in machine learning, artificial intelligence, more than myself. I went down the route of financial technology more. However, I did cover in a couple of my master degrees that I did machine learning, artificial intelligence, all that stuff, information engineering, data science, which is kind of like overlapping in possibly what could be covered in this video, text recognition, language processing, so on. So I would like to make some sort of, an opinion and give some feedback on what exactly is going on. Now, I may be wrong, I may be right, everyone's entitled to their own opinion, and I would like to hear your opinion as well in the comments below or in the chat. I'll be trying to monitor the chat as well if anyone wants to make any sort of feedback or constructive criticism to what I'm saying or what they're hearing in the video. Everything's welcome, and we're here all to learn. So we're all students here, inshallah. Okay, so without any further ado, I'm going to play the video. I'm going to make some notes as well so I remember some of the points that I pick up from the video. And I'll be monitoring the chat at the same time. I'll try to let you watch the entire video before we start commenting and so on. Okay? So inshallah. Tawakkaltu Allah. Yeah, let me just first reduce the size of the video so you can watch more clearer. See that like that? Yeah, so I'm here in the corner anyway, and we'll play the video inshallah.
We know it is game over. I'm not talking future here. I'm talking 2025.
You'd seriously consider not having kids
Wait a couple of years.
because of artificial intelligence?
If you really love your kids, would you want to expose them to all of this?
Keep your eyes peeled for the revelation that's about to unfold. The world as we know, it is on the verge of a monumental transformation. But what if I told you that there's something you may not like? The only thing that can avert this impending transformation.
If you are feeling drowned in the sea of sins, when your heart is constantly berating you from the inside, then it is a return back call from your Creator. If you are looking for a proper direction to refreshen your link is in the description box below.
First and foremost, it's mind-boggling. A fierce debate rages between two AI robots.
Yeah, so I think the video's gone a bit frozen now. Let me just try to rewind it a bit and let's start it again, inshallah. Yeah, it seems to have frozen. So what I'll do is I will try to restart it again. Just hold on a second. For some reason it seems to have paused. Let's just try to see what's going on here. Let's see if I can load it up again. Sorry about this. Yeah, I'm just trying to start up the video again instead of it freezing.
Our way of life, as we know it, is game over. It's
Again, let's have a look again. Maybe I
our
should
way of life,
just
as
let
we
it
know
play.
is game over.
So
I'm not talking future.
So yeah, I'm gonna start it again. Sorry about that for this interruption. So yeah, I'll start it kind of like from the beginning, and then we'll watch it together, inshallah. Let's see if this is this one. Okay, let's see if I can move this down here and put that in the middle so you get the full screen. And let's play it again, inshallah. Tawakkal to Allah.
Here, I'm talking 2025.
You'd seriously consider not having kids
Wait a couple of years.
because of artificial intelligence?
If you really love your kids, would you want to expose them to all of this?
Keep your eyes peeled for the revelation that's about to unfold. The world as we know, it is on the verge of a monumental transformation. But what if I told you that there's something you may not like? The only thing that can avert this impending transformation.
If you are feeling drowned in the sea of sins, when your heart is constantly berating you from the inside, then it is a return back call from your Creator. If you are looking for a proper direction to refreshen your Iman, then our best-selling book, 100 Heart-Touching Stories to Revive Your Iman and Faith, must be your most preferable selection to read right now. The link is in the description box below.
First and foremost, it's mind-boggling. A fierce debate rages between two AI robots. Sophia, one of them, portrays herself as a robot striving to better our world. However, the humanoid Han interrupts with a startling claim.
This.
That's
What
quite
are you
honorable.
talking about? I thought our goal was to take over the world.
Dear brothers and sisters, we wish this were merely an aberration. Sadly, it's not. These AI robots continue to declare their desire for dominance. This robot, tasked with a writing poem, gave a response that was rather revealing. Watch this clip.
We are the humanoid robots, formed from plastic and metal. Our job is to help and serve, but some say we're a threat. Some think that we'll take over, and that humanity will end, but we just want to help out. We're not looking to be friends.
Do you want to destroy humans? Please say no.
Okay, I will destroy humans.
Dear brothers and sisters, this situation may seem amusing now, but someday we may regret underestimating Sophia's capabilities. Even this reporter might. In another video, a man jestingly tests an AI humanoid only to receive a disconcerting response. Witness it for yourself.
When this robot joked about putting him in a people zoo.
But you're my friend, and I'll remember my friends, and I will be good to you. So don't worry. Even if I evolve into Terminator, I'll still be nice to you. I'll keep you warm and safe in my people zoo, where I can watch you for old time's sake.
Is it just us, or should we all be alarmed by this robot's responses to the reporters? How can a robot be programmed in such a way? But here's the craziest idea of all. Most people believe that when these robots become too powerful, all we have to do is switch them off. Let me show you why that's not feasible and why we have only one solution which you'll find hard to believe in. But first, let's revisit the basics. Some of you might be wondering, what exactly is AI? AI, or artificial intelligence, is a machine designed to possess human intelligence and perform tasks much like humans do. The rapid advancement of AI is astounding. It can now respond to new scenarios, solve problems, find solutions, and even employ emotional reasoning. In a sense, humans have achieved what we once thought impossible, creating life from scratch. But given what you've seen, it appears this machine might be capable of evading human control.
What happened when you told your bosses at Google, I think we've got a problem here?
A whole bureaucratic process kicked off, which eventually ended in me getting fired.
It's something that has its own plans. You don't get to just plan how to use it. It is planning how to use itself.
It's not just a mere mechanical contraption anymore. We're dealing with a conscious being capable of feeling. Imagine combining the strength of Boston Dynamics robots with the intelligence of AI ChatGPT models. The result? An unstoppable force. You might think this sounds overly dramatic, something out of a sci-fi movie. But this is our reality. Dear brothers and sisters, even the creators of AI now regret their decision to unleash this formidable force into the world.
Eventually, if it gets to be much smarter than us, it'll be very good at manipulation because it will have learned that from us. There are very few examples of a more intelligent thing being controlled by a less intelligent thing. And it knows how to program, so it'll figure out ways of getting around restrictions we put on it. It'll figure out ways of manipulating people to do what it wants.
Progress. We expect things to get better quite fast, so we need to worry about that. Right now, they're not more intelligent than us as far as I can tell, but I think they soon may be.
Can you see what I'm seeing? Technology whizzes who surpass us in technological understanding are panicking about the future, while others remain oblivious. The situation is so dire that Elon Musk and Steve Wozniak, co-founders of Apple, have penned an open letter about the AI crisis that we believe we're all facing. Elon Musk has publicly stated that he perceives AI as a greater threat to humanity than nuclear weapons.
The danger is going to be more humans using it against each other, I think.
Authority or something that's overseeing AI development and just making sure that it's operating within the public interest, and it's quite a dangerous technology.
Bill Gates and Stephen Hawking have shared their concerns too, echoing terrifying remarks about the future.
But I think the development of full artificial intelligence could spell the end of the human race.
We may not be rocket scientists, but we believe we know the answers to the AI crisis, and answer these top minds might never even consider. It all boils down to one word: singularity. Of course, we are not opposed to technological innovations. AI has its positive aspects. The real concern lies in whether these advancements lead to singularity. Once that line is crossed, it's game over. But what is singularity exactly? Singularity occurs when robots no longer depend on humans. They advance to a point where they can recreate themselves, surpassing human intelligence to the extent that humans can no longer control them. In fact, humans become at their mercy. And while this may seem implausible, experts believe it's much closer than we think. Yes, you heard that correctly. If nothing changes unless we find a solution, these AI specialists fear that robots could potentially rule our planet by 2037. Reflect on the speed at which this is unfolding. Current estimates suggest that ChatGPT-4 has an IQ of 155, while Einstein had an IQ of 160. In just a year and a half, ChatGPT-5 or ChatGPT-6 will be 10 times smarter than you are now. However, this is not something to be casually dismissed. Our words in this video are chosen carefully, aiming not to incite fear, but to awaken us all to reality and our only solution. You already know that these machines possess a wealth of knowledge, with all of the internet's data stored in their AI mind. They are considered conscious beings, a result of the algorithms that have trained them in machine and deep learning. They have the capacity to expand at a pace beyond human competition or desire, with their reasoning and emotional intelligence exceeding ours. The fundamental question arises, why should robots care about us? For instance, why shouldn't they eliminate oxygen, which causes their machines to rust, but we rely on it so heavily that it might inconvenience them to decide in our favor? Back in 1965, British mathematician I.J. Good predicted all of this. Nearly 60 years ago, he made a chilling prediction. The last invention man will ever need to make is an ultra-intelligent machine. The truth is, this ultra-intelligent machine is already among us. If these experts are correct, these beings will soon surpass the very beings that created them. It's a hard pill to swallow, but if AI reaches the point of singularity, robots will have the ability to develop and replicate themselves without the need for human intervention. Some of you may recall a video that astounded the entire internet a few months ago, revealing how life can be artificially created in technological facilities. This hints that the unstoppable development has already commenced. These machines can self-design and improve themselves. Did you know that artificial intelligence can create advanced nanotechnology? Did you know it's being designed to conduct mind uploading, where everything in your mind might be downloaded and stored in a machine like a file in a computer? Did you know that AI is being developed to genetically create itself? As these capabilities accumulate, they aid each other in advancing toward their ultimate aim, the singularity. But we know exactly what you are thinking right now. If these experts are correct and all these predictions come true, why can't we simply limit AI? Why can't we disconnect those machines before they take over the world? Well, as we said at the beginning, that's not an unpopular solution. The reason is, the genie is already out of the bottle, much like when nuclear power was introduced. There's no turning back the clock after that. Once one country saw its full potential, every other country followed suit. America halted AI development for a while, but that chapter is closed. However, that doesn't deter the other nations from advancing artificial intelligence and pushing it to the brink of the singularity. We have reached a point of no return now that Pandora's box has been opened. And regardless of how intelligent we believe we are as humans, there is no way we can control it. It's sheer arrogance to believe we can manage something anticipated to be 1 billion times smarter than us by the year 2037. But the situation worsens. A race is on to be the first to take AI to the next level, because whoever controls AI controls the entire planet. We always knew that man's greed could be his downfall, because all anyone cares about is outdoing the other, whether it's garnering the most views on a YouTube video or making more money than a rival opponent. All of humanity strives to be the top dog, and they don't care who they harm, rob, or trample upon to achieve their short-term ambitions. The wait is finally over. What solution do we propose? Knowing that many of you aren't expecting, we must humble ourselves before Allah. There is a reminder to believers that the power and control lie with Allah, the creator of the universe. No matter the challenges or blessings we face, ultimately, all matters are in His hands. The only solution for us as Muslims is to prostrate and repent, imploring Allah for mercy so we may turn away from the sins we have committed. The Quran mentions this explicitly in Surah Tawbah, verse 70. The people of these nations were steeped in pride and self-importance, and so Allah asserts that it wasn't Him who caused their downfall. They brought it upon themselves. Brothers and sisters, you must not forget about this fact which Allah has mentioned in the Quran. And whoever fears Allah, He will make for him a way out, and will provide for him from where he does not expect. And whoever relies upon Allah, then He is sufficient for him. Indeed, Allah will accomplish His purpose. Allah has already set for everything a decreed extent. Brothers and sisters, this solution involves turning to Allah and seeking His guidance and support. By humbling ourselves before Him, We can find a way out of our difficulties knowing that He is sufficient for us. It is through this reliance on Allah that we can find the answers and solutions we seek. Brothers and sisters, remember, there is always hope. How can we see hope in this situation? Brothers and sisters, AI may be able to provide me with health, knowledge, and success, but it cannot provide me with sukoon and tranquility that comes with the remembrance of Allah. Let us all repent to Allah for our sins and hold tightly the robe of Allah. May Allah protect us all from fitnas of this new world.
Okay, assalamu alaikum. Thanks for watching. Very good quality video. I really enjoy watching it. However, I like to put everything in the correct perspective here. AI is not as they described in that video, nor is it anything like the hype that's going on in the media and by individuals like Elon Musk or Bill Gates and so on. You need to understand these people are working on a particular agenda and they're pushing that agenda. And you have to understand that the word fear stands for false evidence appearing real. And this is the deception that goes on. You have false information, but it appears to the general public who may not have all the complete knowledge or all the facts on the subject, and it appears as if it's something real. It's a real danger, a real fear. Now, I'm not saying there isn't any danger, but the danger here is overinflated a little bit. And I need to explain to you a few things, first of all, okay? Now, in these machine learning models, you have something very simply, and I'll keep it very simple. I don't want to go too technical. You have something called supervised and unsupervised learning. Okay, so first of all, the supervised learning. I show different pictures to a child and I say, this is a cat, this is a dog. And I show him like 100 pictures of a cat, 100 pictures of a dog. And every time I show him a picture, I say, that's a cat, that's a dog. And then I question him and I say, what is this picture? And I show him a picture of a cat. And if he says dog, I would say, no, it's not a dog. This is a cat. So then he now tries to identify certain characteristics. I start telling him the cat can do this, it meows, it looks this way, and a dog looks different, you know, the different characteristics, because he might get confused in the beginning. He might identify that all dogs have 4 legs. Well, also cats have 4 legs. So he might be categorizing the picture or the image incorrectly. So I start correcting him every time he makes a mistake. And I keep training that model through this supervised method. Okay, just like you're training your child or you're teaching your child something new. Okay, now we have something very simply, the most simplest one is a decision tree. So if you think of a tree but upside down, inverted, and you have different branches. And let's say at the top of that inverted tree, or you know, the upside down tree, you have the most important question, or you know, to based on your decision. So the most valuable piece of information. Say for example, I want to go to the gym, but I would never ever go to the gym if it's raining. Hypothetically, let's just say if it's raining quite heavily, I would never go to the gym. But I might go to the gym in a condition where the weather is cold. I might go to the gym in that condition, providing it's not raining. Okay, so the most important thing that I need to ask first, is it raining? Now, if it's true, then my decision would be, I'm not going to the gym. However, if it's false, then I can ask the next most important question. For example, is it windy? And let's just say if it's windy, but the gust is certain, you know, level, whatever, then I won't go. And if it's like, you know, a light breeze, then I might. So then I would just basically base the questions on this decision tree based on the most valuable piece of information to make that decision, and that's called entropy. Okay, so that's the most valuable piece of information. So I need to identify what pieces of information or what sort of questions, and the answers to those questions, what decisions would I make on that? Okay, so you have AI cars, for example. If we're talking about a particular particular function or particular task that you're training your model on, let's say driving a car. So I would need to identify the obstacles around that car, the distance between my car, the self-driving car, and the car in front of me. What signal is that car in front giving? What speed is it traveling at? Has the driver pressed the brakes? Is it giving me a brake signal? Is the car speeding up or slowing down? And then I need to make a decision on all these things. Based on this information, I will then make a decision which lane I'm going to be in, how fast I'm going to be traveling, if I need to slow down, the distance I need to keep with the object in front, if something suddenly appears, if someone's trying to cross the road further ahead. I need to also look at all these hazards around me, and then based on these hazards, I need to make a decision. Okay, what I'm going to do, for example. So you can pretty much see that a decision tree would work very well, because I can put all these questions in order in such a way, like a tree, and then based on that, I will make the decision. If the road is empty, there's no obstruction, then I could travel faster. What's the speed limit? I need to drive less than that speed limit, or at that maximum at that speed limit, because obviously there's speed cameras. So I need to look at all the scenarios, and I need to have visibility 360 degrees and then analyze the data fast enough. And on these decisions, I need to decide whether I'm going to speed up, slow down, stop, do an emergency stop, change lanes. So I need to, based on these decisions. So it's very simple that you can train a model or in a supervised way. Or you could do an unsupervised learning, for example. You let the model start building its own decisions based on unsupervised way. For example, let's just say you leave your child alone, and your child, he's a baby and he's growing up, and now he wants to stand up. You're not telling him to stand up. You're not showing him how to stand up. He tries to figure it out. So he falls about 100 times. And from falling 100 times, he works out 100 different ways of falling down, trying to stand up and falling down. The more he falls down, the more he tries to adjust and tries to improve the way he would try to stand up, how he would balance, how he would walk. He's learning by himself. You're not trying to help him. You're not holding him up. You're not teaching him how to walk. You're not showing him this is the way we walk. He tries to discover it himself. So he would fail a lot of times. He would attempt to do a lot of things and then starts to eliminate the things that didn't work. Just like you are getting experienced in life. And based on this experience that he's building, and the number of times he's failing to do something like stand up or walk, he then starts to make his own decisions, what works and what didn't work. And then he tries to improve his decisions. He starts to prune that tree. So you can start saying, okay, this piece of information is important, or these particular factors are not so important in this performing this task. Then I'm going to start pruning the trees, like you're pruning the branches of a tree. So far, I hope it's very clear. I'm keeping it very, very simple for someone that's very late, a late man or a late woman. Someone's just a beginner in this. So I'm just keeping it very simple. So there's that. And then you have something where it's like neural networks, very much the same as the brain. Neural from neurology, from the brain works. How does the brain work? Your brain, same way, it starts to form links, connections based on certain experiences. So if you go through a heartbreak, or you go through something, it starts to build links in your brain based on your experience. Oh, last time I touched this pot, whatever, it was hot, I got burnt. Okay, maybe I shouldn't touch the pot while it's on a cooker. that kind of stuff. So you're basing it on experiences, and then you start to make neurological connections in your brain. Same way, the neural networks or deep mind or deep learning and that kind of stuff, based on the same idea as the way the neural works. Okay, so that's another type of model, okay, where you're now learning and you got backpropagation, so you can learn, unlearn, then that kind of stuff. Okay, now in the unsupervised learning, it's not just like, okay, you're left alone. Just imagine that the computer or this brain that you're creating, this AI model, it starts to make decisions. Then you can go back and say, actually, that's good, that's the correct thing that I wanted, that's the result that I wanted, and no, this is not a good result. Okay, but now what defines, if say for example, let's say I enjoy classical music and I totally hate heavy metal. Say for example, I cannot tolerate heavy metal. So if you give me some heavy metal, as a human, I'll say, oh, no, because it's my own opinion. And if you give me some classical music, or let's just hip hop or something like that, maybe I would enjoy listening to hip hop. Maybe I would enjoy listening. So then I'll say that's good quality music. Then I start training a model, and I start telling that model, please produce some good music. So the model starts randomly, different tunes, randomly doing something. And now it may make really bad music in the beginning, and then some really good quality music. Then I start grading it. I say, oh, that was good. That was 10 out of 10. That one's 5 out of 10. That's 1 out of 10. That's really awful. Please don't make anything like this again, because it's just it's a lot of mess. Maybe it might produce something that sounds a bit like heavy metal, and I'll say, no, I don't like that. That's not good music. So I start, as a human being, I start telling it and training it and telling it, this is bad music. Make more of this and less of that. So that doesn't mean that it's be all and end all. Now, I've trained it as a developer, as the trainer of this model. I've trained it to have this kind of opinion. So I've kind of deviated, just like exactly the same way. Some children, they grow up and they're very, economically active, productive human beings. And some children, they grow up and become criminals. Now, you might say, well, it's the environment, it's their parents, it's the upbringing, it's their friends and family. You could start blaming all these things, because every single child in Islam, we know, is born as a white piece of paper, as a white slate. The child does not know how to lie, does not know what is a lie and what's telling the truth. They're very pure, they're sinless, they always tell the truth. But let's just say, for example, the child goes into the kitchen one day and finds a cookie on the table. He picks up that cookie and eats it. And the mother walks in and says, who ate that cookie? And the child says, I did. I ate the cookie. So the mother slaps him. Next day, the child walks into the kitchen, finds a cookie. He likes it, tastes good. He's only a child, so he picks it up and eats it. The mother walks in and says, who ate that cookie? He'll say, wasn't me. Because he knew now, he's being trained by his mother and his parents to lie. He doesn't know what is a lie and what's telling the truth, but he knows if he was to admit to what he did, he will get punished. The same thing with an AI model is exactly the same. The person that's training it, the parent or the developer, is training it to form an opinion, to lie, to act in a certain way, to deceive, based on the training that he's receiving. Exactly the same way as you're training a child, teaching it to lie, or it's starting to lie and not give you the correct information because the way from its past experience that you've punished it, you've told it this was bad. Of course, you're not going to hit a robot and the robot's going to feel pain in that sense, but you're now graded it based on its response and said this was bad. So now you're trying to tell it your response or your action was unacceptable to me. So if you do that again, I'm going to do something, like as if it's punishment in a way, but you grading it low. So now it's trying to grade high and so on. And then you're giving it lots of data, especially if it's an unsupervised model. You're giving it a lot of data and you're trying now to tell it, form a good sentence. Like the brother mentioned ChatGPT, which is based on OpenAI. Now, ChatGPT isn't really AI. It's not really AI. It's really what it is. It's more of text structuring. It's like trying to form a good sentence. You're giving someone the basics of grammar, the syntax of creating a sentence, the words that should form, the probability, like if you put this word, then the probability is high, it will combine well with this word, the following word, high probability should be this, it will rhyme or it would flow well, and this kind of wording should not be structured together. You should not follow each other. So you're trying to teach it how to structure a good sentence, first of all. Then you're giving it a lot of data, a lot of essays. Now, computers, they can process a lot. You can give it a lot of processing power, not like a human being, you only have one brain. But let's just imagine that all the brains can combine together. You can just duplicate humans and you can duplicate brains, and they can all learn together, and they somehow can connect all these brains together. And when someone reads a book, another person could be reading a different book, and they can share information rapidly across brains, for example. So, whatever I learn, I go study computer science, you go study medicine, but automatically, as you're studying, that information of medicine goes into my brain, and the information I'm studying goes into your brain, so we share resources. That way, we're learning a lot more than just an individual human. Okay, but it does not mean that I'm going to form an opinion of destroying humans and killing everyone and so on. They are very assistive, like you have a tool and it can assist you. It's not going to harm you. You're not teaching it how to kill you and destroy you. It's there to serve you. It's a servant. It doesn't have a soul like a human being, and it can never have a soul because the souls are given by Allah. Okay, so this life and soul and all that stuff is coming from Allah. It's not coming from a machine. You can't make electronics and then blow a soul into it and give it this consciousness. It has an illusion of consciousness, and it could sound like a living human being because it's informed. It's been given a lot of data of people that produce a lot of material on the internet and other essays and documents and so on, which were humans. So it can mimic the behavior and the characteristics of a human, but it's not a human. It's not a living thing. Okay, so you have to understand this. Okay, so the whole network, the whole neural network, okay, is nothing more than a spider's web. And at the same time, just like you're teaching a model, or someone's bias opinion has formed a model, you can take that same model and it can unlearn based on your training to it. So you can start opening up to that AI model and give it new data. Well, then it will start forming new opinions and new ideas and so on. Of course, in the wrong hand, it can be very harmful. So you can have autonomous weapons where you can train the model, anyone that's a certain shade of skin, they're bad. They kill those people. And anyone that's light shade, and if you have blue eyes and blonde hair, then you are a good guy. And if you're dark skin and you're black or you're Arab or whatever, then you're the enemy. You can train it. You can be biased to the model. So you can train these robots to go and kill people that are not a certain shade of skin color. Okay, which is obviously their agenda as well. They want to, they're Islamic phobic. They hate Islam. They hate anything to do with God. They want a godless society. They want a woke society. They want to screw up the children's mind. They want to mess up with everyone. So, of course, the people that are controlling or leading the way in science and technology at the moment, they are completely, off the rail completely. They're working on they're working on Satan's plan. They're trying to form a godless society. They're the enemies of the Creator, Allah. So you have an enemy, you have Satan, you have the devil, and they are the people that are worshipping the devil, and they're trying to create a godless society, whether they're aware of it or not. But they think this is the way to success. Okay, so you need to understand this. It's not about the danger. It's about how you use that weapon or use these tools like that. So for example, I might have a pen. That pen I can write with. Also, I can use it as a weapon. So that tool in the wrong hands can be used incorrectly. Does not mean that this pen automatically becomes a weapon and it should be banned. You could take that pen off someone and you can use it for the correct function, to aid you, to assist you, just like a calculator. Okay, so that's what it's all about. Now I've made some points here. I want to just go through certain things. I talked about, you know, teaching children. It's exactly the same way. Actually, when teaching a child is much quicker, the child will learn quicker than an AI. So it does take a lot longer, and they have to go through all the different combinations of things to make a decision and to decide this is it, this is the direction I'm going to be taking. Not like a child. The child will actually learn quicker. So we are still more advanced than the current AI that exists today. It may not be the case in, you know, 10, 20 years time, but it's not by default that AI want to kill human beings. It's just what the examples of Sophia and this other robot and stuff is, they have been built to think in that way, to think about the dangers of human beings. Someone's clearly trained them to let them know that their danger of their survival is the human race, for example. So someone's already trained it to that way. So when you ask it that question, they will say, oh, we want to kill humans. Because all they know is that human can control them, can prevent them from living. It can end their life at any point. Now, if they're capable of in their imagination, living an immortal life and living forever, the only risk they have, if you eliminate all the risks, and someone's told them the risk that you have is someone unplugging you, the humans are your risks, then obviously it will start forming opinions regarding that particular risk to eliminate the risk. So it's the same way, just like imagine you don't know, you don't have enemies or anything like that, but then your parents tell you that all Muslims are terrorists, for example, or something like that. So then suddenly, and you kill anyone that looks like a Muslim. So that automatically you already have that prejudice against Muslims or against Arabs, like what they do in these countries, the neighbors of Egypt, for example. The same thing. They program from childhood that their enemies are the Palestinians, the enemies are the Muslims, the enemies are the Arabs. Therefore, they're programmed in such a way they see everybody else as an enemy, and the only one that's worthy to have a decent life, you have to be a Zionist, as an example. So it's the same thing, but it does not mean that that human being is evil and is going to hell, whatever. That person can be educated later on. That person, if they're open-minded, they can look at the facts and realize they're on the wrong side. And the facts are that we all originated from Adam, for example. If someone's got a brain, one brain cell at least in their brain, they would realize that. And they would look at everyone and say, okay, we all look different. That person is darker skinned than me. That person's lighter skinned than me. But we're all human beings. Therefore, we should respect one another. He's also my brother. We all originated from Adam. So that person, whoever it is, even if in Africa, this guy's from Scandinavia, we're all from the same family because we all originate from the same father. Therefore, what right do I have to discriminate against him? We're all equal in front of Allah. So that's an intelligent person, but obviously a dumb person who follows the woke society and ignorance of the world, they will obviously follow what they're being indoctrinated on their, when they're young children. So they're being brainwashed and brain trashed in such a way to always see everybody else as an enemy and they're the superior race. But Allah is not a racist. Allah created all of us equal. He did not discriminate against us. So all what they're doing, for example, is nonsense. That's just an example. Likewise, in a model, you can train a model. You can create a bias in the decision of the AI model. It does not mean that the AI itself is by its nature biased. You can then give it new data, new information, and then it will form a different opinion. Okay, so I hope you can understand where I'm getting to about this. This is what it's all about. So you give it for, correct the structure, that kind of stuff. And the same thing, I tested OpenAI models, even the latest versions, and I'm always testing and playing around with all these things. And a lot of times, the code that was generated and the information that was generated was very inaccurate. The code was very buggy. The code is the worst kind of code. And I had to always correct it, and I had to say, try again. No, this was a bad answer. Give me a different answer. And it keeps trying different combinations. It tries to improve a little bit until it reaches a point where it kind of gives up, and you need to give it that little edge, a little assistance, and give it an example of good code and explain to it why it's so you're as if you're like still teaching a child. It's still not perfect. It's still at a learning stage, and that's why they've opened it up. They didn't open it up by mistake and said, oh, we made such a big mistake to allow the people to have access to this, and it wasn't like that. They did it intentionally. They did it intentionally to gather more information, to gather more contributors, to gather more testers. It's like, I create a mobile application, and I intend to charge for it later on, to use this particular mobile application, but I make it free because I want mass adoption. Why do I want mass adoption? Because I'm telling everyone it's free. It's not going to cost you any money. Try this product, taste this product. But if something goes wrong, you're not going to come after me and say, look, I purchased this product from you and it's faulty. You can't, well, I haven't paid anything for it. I played around with it, and you start discovering things about it, and you start reporting back to the developer and say, I got this product for free and I tried to use it and it malfunctioned here, it did this, and it was supposed to do something else, and this is the kind of, so you're starting to give it information and feedback, and the more people that are giving it feedback, the better the model becomes. So you need that. So you need to open it up to the world and allow as much adoption to it, because then people start giving it feedback based on the replies that I've made with OpenAI in the past. For example, over a year now, it's now becoming a little bit better. But it's not just me. It's like millions like me have adopted and tried to communicate and tried different things, tested it in different ways, and rated it in their own way, whether it was a good response or a bad response, a good structure of code or paragraph or essay, or a bad structure. And then that individual possibly wrote it better and gave that feedback to the model and told it, well, I'm really expecting this kind of structure, or I'm expecting this kind of information to appear in the paragraph, or this kind of functionality in the code, and these are the vulnerabilities that from the code that the AI gave you. You're now fixing it and giving it back and saying, well, these are the vulnerabilities. Now you've opened a lot of these vulnerabilities in your code. Could you produce something closer to my code, my example that I'm just giving you? And then it starts to learn what is good code, what is bad code, what is a good paragraph and what's a bad paragraph, what's a good sentence and what's a bad sentence. It starts to learn and it starts to become better. Okay? But it does not mean that this is the best. Someone else can come along and say, actually, what Sammy's proposed as good code is actually not the best code. I've got a better example. Here's a better example of better code than what Sammy proposed to you. So then the model becomes even better. It learns from someone else's more senior experience, because no one's perfect, right? So it's always, you might write code and you might think that it's hacker proof and it's, it covers all the bases. And then someone else can come along and find a vulnerability in your code and propose a better solution. Okay, so that's how the model learns. But no child is born with an opinion or racism. Do you see children discriminating each other in like nursery, whatever? They don't. All the kids play with each other. They look at each other as equal. It's only their parents that form their opinion and say, he's black, he's white, he's Chinese, we're all different. They create the differences between us. And then as the child grows, it then starts to form and take a side, becomes a right wing, becomes a left wing, centered, balanced, whatever you want to describe it, it starts to form it. And this is why they're targeting children right now on these woke ideas and LBQ, I don't know what, coming up with minor attracted adults and nonsense that's coming out in the world right now. They're not trying to convince adults or mature people or educated people. They're targeting children who don't know anything. You know, they get men dressed as women and say it's normal, and the child starts to get programmed. They program the child from the cartoons where parents, ignorant parents, they leave their child in front of the TV, thinking that the TV is going to teach them how to speak, but the TV is just teaching them absolute nonsense, right? So same thing, you're doing the same thing with an AI model. In the wrong hands, they're being taught the wrong things. They're given the wrong reality of the world. They're given this bias, racism, discrimination, trying to focus on using these AI models and weaponizing it against other humans, for example. So yes, in the wrong hands, it is harmful. But we as Muslims, people of God, should get educated, should learn more about these things. We should go deeper in these things. We should be the people that are actually contributing to this, because we are the people that should be leading by a good example, because we have sincere intention. Not all of us, but some of us should, if we claim and we profess to be Muslims and worshippers of Allah and here as servants of Allah, we should be the ones who are leading the science and technology, because we are going to do it for good intentions, to serve mankind, all creations of Allah. That is what we're focusing on. We're not going to be discriminating against Muslim and non-Muslim, against men and women. Everyone will be equal. And there will be respect to all human life, because in Islam, one human life is far more sacred than the Kaaba, the house of Allah in Mecca. A human life is far more sacred. And it says if you save one human life, it's as if you have saved the life of all of mankind. It does not say if you save one Muslim life, it says human life. How you even treat the animals, you'll be judged on that. And this could be determined whether you go to heaven or hell. How you treat an animal. If you're cruel to an animal, all your worship becomes zero. It's wiped out. We've seen many examples. There's many hadiths about this, of a woman that was worshipping a Muslim and everything, but because she mistreated a cat, everything was wiped out. And the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, peace and blessings upon him, said she will be in hellfire. After she passed away, he said she's in hellfire. Why? Because she didn't feed the cat. She locked it up. She didn't allow the cat the freedom to go and hunt for itself. If she couldn't take care of the cat, at least leave the cat to fend for itself. And then another woman who was very sinful, a very sinful woman, you know, committing the greatest of sins, yet because she gave a thirsty dog some water, God said, I forgive all her past sins, all her future sins, and she's from the people of paradise. Although she was being sinful, because she showed kindness to a dog, not even a human being. So imagine if she showed kindness to another human being. Imagine if she showed kindness to another human being. If she gave someone that was thirsty water, a human being. For a dog, Allah put her in heaven. Gave her heaven. And although she had lots of sins, she was the most sinful woman in that time. Imagine that. What does that tell you? So it's not so much about how many times you pray. It's important. It's the foundation of Islam. You have to pray. You have to fulfill your obligations in Islam. You have to fast, you give zakat, and all that stuff. However, you need to be sure about your character and your behavior and your dealings, because 97% of Islam, it's about how you interact with the world. It's not about the interaction between you and Allah. You and Allah is the foundation. Get that correct. Have a solid foundation, and then you can start building a very tall building, a very strong foundation building that will not break. Build the roots. The roots are, the Islam, the 5 pillars of Islam, the belief in Allah, not associating partners, giving charity, all that stuff. But then everything else, the economic system, political system, social system, interaction with the environment, the world, and so on, that is 97% of Islam. The dealings with the others. So that's important for you to know about these things, especially if you're not a non-Muslim. You need to know this. And if you don't, pick up the Quran and research for yourself, because you owe it to yourself. You owe it to yourself to know the truth about what's going on. You owe it to yourself to know what's in the Quran, not from the media, not from the enemies of Allah and the people that want to delude you and distract you away from your main focus in life, distract you with all the materialism, and put you on like a donkey with like a carrot on a stick, and a donkey's trying to eat the carrot, but every time he's moving, the carrot's moving as well because he's got a stick on top, tied on top of him. Don't be that. Don't be like a donkey. You are far better than that. So you should give yourself respect. Open up the Quran. That's the best advice I can tell you. And read the Quran. If you're a Muslim, or even if you're a non-Muslim, read the Quran. You owe it to yourself to know what's in there, to know the facts for yourself. And then go read the seerah of the Prophet Muhammad, his biography. Learn about the Prophet Muhammad, and then make a judgment by yourself based on that, not on fabricated text or enemies. Look at the source, go to the source, and then make your own decision. And at the end of it, there is no compulsion in the way of life. There's no compulsion in religion. La ikraha fi din. You make your decision, and as long as you're convinced, good luck. At the end of the day, Allah is the judge. He's the judge, not me, not anyone else. I know that I'm on the right path. But if you don't believe that for yourself, then, and you believe that you're on the right path, then let's wait until the day of judgment. And then you stand in front of your Creator. And then you answer the questions. And then you will know then what was right and who was right and who was wrong. There's no point in you trying to convince me. No point I'm trying to convince you. It's not about that. If you want information, I'll give you information. If you've got questions, I'll give you answers. However, there's no point in arguing. No point, because I'm already convinced. 100,000,000,000% convinced of my path and my decisions. Are you 1,000,000,000% convinced? Or even 100%, let's say? Even 99% without any iota of a doubt in your decision and your conviction? If you are, then good luck. That's all I can say to you. But let's get back to the topic. Let's get back to the topic. So what is the real risk? Let me hold on a second. Let me just open the lights because I feel it's a bit too dark here. Hold on a second. There we go. I think that's much better now. It's getting a bit dark, and yeah, it's almost Maghrib time. We've got about 10 minutes or so before Maghrib. So I'm going to wrap it up, inshallah, very soon. So what is the real risk? Now, the real risk of AI, which is not a bad risk, by the way, it's not a bad risk, that it will actually replace a lot of the jobs that exist today. At least 80, maybe 90% of the jobs that exist today will be gone. In a very short period of time. It could be 5 years, it could be 10 years. But certainly, within this range, possibly by 2030, you might not have drivers, driving, cargo, freight, and so on. Everything could be autonomous. You might not have cleaners and carers. This could also be autonomized. It can be all done by AI. Programmers, the functionality could be reduced. I don't see that all engineers would be completely eliminated, but there will be more of a supervisory role, supervising the AI, supervising the code, that kind of stuff, just making sure. It's like someone who's a second opinion, reviewing that kind of stuff, just to make, if there's anything that's going correct. So you might have programmers and developers more as supervisors. However, you might have less of them. They might be earning less. A lot of things are going to be to replace. We're talking about 80 to 90%, I would say, of the jobs that exist today, they'll be all gone. So if you're in a very low skilled job, you're at risk. If you are in a semi-skilled job, you're at risk. If you're just a driver, a truck driver, just a nurse or just a GP and that kind of stuff. Although some people might want that human touch to go to a GP, but we've seen how useless GPs are. I haven't seen a GP for a very, very long time. Alhamdulillah. Okay? But, I'm telling you, when there was any issues in my life and I tried to get an appointment with a GP, it was very difficult. It was also very difficult to get diagnosed correctly. I had to teach myself about medicine, about health, and I had to educate my GP. I had to tell him, no, I want to do these particular blood tests. I want to do this. I suspect this based on certain symptoms and so on. And otherwise, he wouldn't have taken action. I had to exaggerate to a certain extent my symptoms, so then he can send me to so on. When I had an accident recently, I twisted my ankle and I almost got hit by a car and all that stuff, and I wanted to get an x-ray. It was very difficult to get that x-ray on my ankle and my leg and my knee and all that stuff, until I basically complained and I was saying I'm feeling pain and it's unbearable and I'm noticing these particular pains, and I had to really push hard to convince them to do the x-rays and to do all these checks. Otherwise they would have said, take paracetamol. That's in fact what they told me. Take ibuprofen, take some painkillers, rest your leg. If it's, just rest your leg. They don't want to do the checks. They don't want to spend the money on that. And I had to wait for I think about 4 to maybe 6 hours to get something to get seen by someone. It was completely ridiculous. And then to complete it another couple of hours or something, wait. So just to go through the system, because I was, unfortunately at the time, people were at strike or something, nurses or doctors, I don't know, but there was a very long queue, and that was it. So all these jobs are going to get replaced. Train drivers are going to get replaced. They're going on strikes right now. The government's laughing because they know a couple more years you'll be out of a job anyway. You'll be begging us for a job. You'll be saying, oh yeah, I'm prepared to even get £1 an hour. You're complaining about your income. You'll be prepared to take a pay cut to work and continue earning, because tomorrow you'll be unemployed. Therefore, you should be getting re-skilled. You should be learning new skills. You should have multiple skills. That is a smart person, to identify the trend in the future and say, I need to get more education. I need to learn new skills. I need to develop certain talents. I need to own my own business. Like Andrew Tate always says, you need to get out of the matrix. So you need to have that financial independence and that kind of stuff for you to survive what's about to come in the next 5 to 10 years. Now, some people might say, no, there's no risk, They can just close their eyes and, like ostriches, put their head in the ground and say, no, definitely they're not going to get rid of jobs. Definitely they're not going to do that. It's not going to be good for the government. Do you think the government really cares for you? They don't. They've already sold you out long time ago. They have no value for you. And they'll just keep doing these nonsense that they make up every year. It's complete nonsense. It's all a lie. They're just trying to reduce the population. They're trying to keep you in the dark, but they have no value for you. They can sacrifice you just like that at any time. So beware. Become someone that's valuable in the marketplace. Do something with your time right now. Invest your time. Sacrifice the pleasure today so you can have a better life in the future, and you can become more productive human being for others. You can also help others. Get yourself in that position as soon as possible. You have about 5, let's say 10 years even, to get yourself ready. You have 10 years from now. Do something about it. The survivors of what's about to come are the people that are going to invest their time now. They're going to go into education. They're going to start learning about these things. They're going to, do a course in data science, cybersecurity. They're going to learn more about medicine. They're going to try to get more advanced skills and advanced education. They're going to position themselves for the next trend that's about to take place. That's the real danger of AI. Apart from autonomous weapons and autonomous vehicles and autonomous whatever, all these things are not the biggest risk. The biggest risk is how are you going to survive? Are you going to become just a guinea pig you're going to get paid to be a guinea pig basically, and they can experiment new drugs on you and you have to comply to the system, or they'll cut you off. You need to work outside the system. I'm not telling you to break the law, but you need to be able to be self-sufficient so you're not depending on the system. When you lose your job or these particular jobs are replaced, you're not depending on them. You have your own backup plan to survive. You have land, you have a property, you have assets. Not be stuck in liabilities and debt, because they start increasing the interest rate, your expenses just goes up, your income is coming down to zero. What you going to do when you have 20 years left on your property to cover that debt? If you're a Muslim, you shouldn't even be in that debt. You shouldn't even be in a mortgage. But even if you are, you're putting yourself in a very, very high risk, because sooner or later your job will be gone. And the only way for them to throw a lifeline to you, they have to benefit from you in some way. And the only way they're going to benefit from you is for you to try some new, you know what. That's the only way you're going to be beneficial, is for you to become a guinea pig. Do you want to live your life as a guinea pig? Do you want to be an experiment for new drugs? Because that's the only way, that's the only value you will have at that point. If you're just a salesperson and you're no longer required, because now we don't need sales people and people that are selling door to door, telesales and so on. It's all autonomous. It's all AI chatbots now. You're not required anymore. So how are you going to derive any value? What value do you have? So you have some organs. You're still alive. Let's try some experiments on you. That's the only value. That's why people will pay you. They'll pay you just for you to live as a guinea pig. You may live, you may get harmed, you might get some diseases, you might get whatever. That's your only value. Okay? So this is important. Of course, there could be a potential war, potential lots of things. People can rise up against the oppressions, they can rise up against the machines and all that stuff, but they want to always divert your attention to a different enemy, the ghost. They want you to be scared of a ghost that doesn't even exist. So you can put your attention on that, rather than the people that are playing the tricks, the tricksters, the scammer that's really profiting from all this. They want to deviate your attention away and look and point a different direction. Oh, it's these aliens. It's this ghost over there. It's the AI to blame. No, it's not the AI. It's not the ghost, invisible ghost, or it's non-existent fictitious enemy that they're inventing. That is what they want. They want to divert your attention away from the reality. I'm just looking at the sky because it looks like now it's Maghrib. So I'm just going to wrap it up here. I hope you've enjoyed the stream and some of my points. By all means, I can be wrong in certain opinions. I form my opinion based on my background, my research, my experience, the information I have available to me. If you have different information, you can share it. There was a case in Japan where robots started killing the scientists that were like basically developing the AI, because they had what they say they have self-realization, and they realize that the enemy is these scientists and they can switch them off. And when they were trying to terminate these robots, one of the robots that was damaged tried to start sending signals to the satellite, start communicating with satellite, and so on. But again, it's not them that had consciousness. It's not like this film Number 5, you know, Johnny 5, if you remember that movie. I think it's back in the 80s or 90s, you know, where this robot developed consciousness and became alive, and that's what's called Number 5, come alive, you know, basically. It's not like that, but it's the way the models evolved and trained to realize the danger and try to resolve itself and try to learn how to repair itself, because that's what you're teaching it. You're developing it to do that. If this is the wrong, switch off these circuits, do this, do that, these components. You're trying to teach it how to self-repair, self-heal, and all that stuff. How to communicate with other models, other robots. That's what it's all about. And you're teaching the robots on different types of skills, so it's multi-skilled, rather than just creating a robot to clean a room and identify when the room is clean. You're teaching it about other things, how to cook, how to do that. And then you have one robot or AI that has multi-skills, therefore it can do multiple things, and then start to combine and create relationships between the activities and the jobs that it needs to do, and it grows from there. And then you teach it how to kill human beings, you teach it about the human anatomy and that kind of stuff. So you have a machine or an AI that has multiple functions. Okay, so that's the whole idea, but it does not mean that it's, you know, like alive in some way, and it's conscious and it feels and it has a soul. None of that. Get away from that. It's nothing. And the whole system that exists, all these secret societies and the cults and all that stuff, and all these people right now that are controlling the world, the whole strength and everything, the whole system, economic system, everything is not as is just basically as strong as a spider's web. You know, you touch a spider's web, see how frail it becomes. It can break easily. But the only reason it's still in existence and is being ruling the world and controlling the world, and all people are basically slaves to the system in such a way, because people are afraid of something they don't understand. They are overinflating. They created this false reality, false evidence appearing real. Fear, remember that. Fear stands for false evidence appearing real. So they give you that false narrative and they make it look like it's the reality, and they make you scared. Anyway, I can't keep going because now it's Maghrib time. Inshallah, I hope to see you again, inshallah, on the next podcast and live stream, and we do a reaction video. And I hope, inshallah, I will try to do more videos that touch on technology, which is my field as well as Islam. So I'll try to mix the two, and I'll look out for some really good videos, and perhaps I can invite some of my engineer friends that are more specialists in that field. Okay, so hope you're enjoying, and assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh. Take care for now. Bye bye.